So this morning I went to lift. I came back. I took a nap. I woke up from my nap. My balls and my nutsack were exploded.
Good afternoon. My name's Dave. Welcome to the Too Much Dip podcast. Joining me in studio today, it's Dylan Shivery.
If you're in your 20s, your balls haven't exploded from lifting heavy weight, maybe you should look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, am I lifting enough weight? Because you're probably not.
I think my entire scene downstairs exploded. I lifted so much this morning. Yeah,
Your whole scene?
just everything down there. I'm a Ken doll right now.
Really?
Yeah, it was squat day.
Big boy weight season.
I was lucky enough to get a rack, and let's just say I threw on the 45s, one plate each side.
Wow.
I was going for reps, not
low did you-
necessarily power,
How
but
low did you go?
just ass to grass, my dude.
Damn. Okay.
Joining us from Wisconsin, a
Yeah.
guy who knows a little something about ass and grass, it's KJ.
I'd like to begin today by acknowledging my, some would say snide, some would say tongue-in-cheek, maybe facetious comments regarding impending weather in North Texas. Having woken up today to see that the majority of the DFW area high schools and school districts are closed today, tomorrow, some on Wednesday, as they are facing seasonal amounts of frozen rain. I implore all listeners in those areas to be vigilant, to stay safe at home, stay off the roads, let the first responders take care of those roads over the next 72 hours or so, however long it takes for them to, really get ahead of things. And we'll go from there.
Cocky northern guy chiming in.
I
Just a real know-it-all.
got a text from the Austin Independent School District about an hour ago
Uh-oh.
saying that all after-school activities, like Parks is in after-school care at the school, it's been canceled because it is 36 degrees here
Abbott.
right now.
Oh, weather-related, not budget
Weather-related,
cuts.
36 degrees.
School
and tomorrow, who knows if school is going to start on time? It probably will not, knowing how this city handles cold weather.
Well, at least it's an opportunity for Parks to play pond hockey for the first time.
I don't know if that's in play. Again, it's 36 degrees.
I've just written it off. I will never play pond hockey.
You don't think it's going to happen? It's not.
No, I think the ship sailed. And I didn't have many ops, when I was younger, when I was actually playing hockey, and I'm just not around too many frozen ponds these days.
No, not too many frozen
I'm
ponds
glad-
in these parts.
I'm glad you mentioned that. As of about 45 minutes ago, I RSVP'd to my very first frozen lake skating event next week. So it'll happen after we talk next week. So I'll try to get some pictures, vids, and whatnot. We can discuss it after the Super Bowl. But your boy will be on skates, thanks to the Parks Mall in Arlington for making sure that is a skill that I do have.
Know all about it. Yeah, for me, it's tough because I know that I'm more likely to have my assets frozen from a Ponzi scheme than play hockey on a frozen pond. You know what I'm saying, KJ?
Yeah, that's the event is actually titled Frozen Assets. It's a big Madison thing each year, but I love it. Look at that. Nail in the head.
Shady business that I'm unaware of, Dave?
I got bad news. You're a part of it. Whether you know it or not, your names are on the documents.
I'm going to get screwed in this. I'm at the bottom of the pyramid.
You are, yes.
Yeah,
You're
okay.
holding the bag. You're the guy holding
The power
bag.
bottom.
Damn.
Hey, you're probably wondering what that audio was that we kicked off with. That's, of course, you guys are big Clemson basketball fans. That's Brevin Galloway. I guess post-op, they did the cool thing where they put the camera right in his face when he wakes up from surgery. And he's just explaining to the folks at home how his downstairs region exploded during a weightlifting sesh.
Well, not during. He said he went home and took a nap and woke up to exploded balls.
Yeah, I guess the
not how you
lingering
wanna-
effects from a good lactic acid pump.
Can that happen? What's going on here?
Well, it did happen. I don't know. It doesn't really. There's probably
Did he-
more medical.
Did he lift with his balls?
No, I don't think that's what happened. He was
Shout
using
out
them
to,
as medicine balls.
The movie 100 Girls. Very few people have probably seen it, but there's a gentleman in there that the entire movie has weights attached to his unit because he thinks it will stretch.
Ah,
We have
yeah.
different means of stretching.
just call the fellas up.
Yeah,
Just
you
call
just
your-
call the boys up.
Call your best bud.
Yeah.
It's a lot simpler.
Just attend A&M, go on a walk.
Randy, if you don't mind, can you throw up on the screen a little something? We got a new segment. It's called "Can You Smell What Coach Sat is Cooking?" I don't know if you guys follow Coach Matt Rhule, formerly of the Panthers, now of Nebraska, but he did the mistake of posting something he was eating onto Twitter, which is the wrong place, the wrong platform. And what we have here is some sausage sliced up
Is this an attempt at jambalaya?
and some rice. You know what? That's a great question. Because I don't
I
know.
didn't even think that.
I was hoping y'all could
I
shed some light
think
onto
that's
this.
what is being attempted here. I'll tell you who's having a good day is Lincoln Riley. He's off the hook for now, at least for today.
Of course, as you guys are both aware, Coach Sat refers to Marcus Satterfield, the OC at Nebraska, and apparently just a real whiz in the kitchen.
You know, it's I kind of feel for Coach Sat because he's not the one who put this on the TL. Like
Exactly.
he's just like, all right, I'm gonna serve up some food for all right, Coach. You know, Coach Rhule's coming over. I'm gonna, I've been cooking some jambalaya. I'm gonna hook him up a little bit, and probably wasn't proud of what he put together, obviously. So he's like, he gives it to him, and then next thing he knows, he's getting absolutely cooked on the TL because his more famous head coach, who has a bigger following, decided to put him on Front Street unintentionally.
I feel like there's some self-awareness. I think he was kind of dunking on him and not bragging about it.
Maybe.
But this, I can't say that it's too, I can't even partake in the dunking because I can tell by seeing it, a meal I've probably seen / made for myself many a times. That's like some generic Eckrich right there and a bowl with some Uncle Ben's ready rice. I don't even know if it's Uncle Ben or if we canceled the uncle part. I think it's just Ben's ready rice now. Like that is about as simple as like, oh, I'm cooking for myself in college, but leveling up by adding 2 ingredients.
To be clear, this looks good. This looks like an appetizing, little snack or meal.
I would eat this.
I would definitely eat it. However, I would not tell anybody. I wouldn't post it to my thousands, millions of followers.
This is
I might.
This is like I'm a bachelor and it's Thursday night. And I had nothing. I have nothing at the crib, and I'll like, oh, I forgot I have that box of rice. It's in the pantry. It's been there for a while. And some sausage. Let me just put something together.
You lifted like a couple hours ago, and you forgot to do your like protein immediately after, and that window shutting. You're just like, I need cows.
And your balls have exploded.
Your testicles are gone due to explosion, and
I might even
like,
say this is
I need sustenance.
You thought Juice Slam was going to get you through the night. Like you thought, I had a smoothie right after lifting. You thought that was going to get you. And you really needed something savory, and or you have a quinoa and baked salmon dinner coming up with the wife later on. You're like, yeah, I'm actually going to eat dinner now, make something on the side, and then go to dinner.
This should be your pre-ice skating meal, KJ.
That's true. Pre-tapas for sure.
Can I ask, is Matt Rhule's hand huge, or is this just a tiny bowl? I'm just kind of wondering the size here. I know it's not that important. If you guys just go follow Matt Rhule on Twitter, at least if you're not watching at home on YouTube. But I don't know. This made me laugh because there is just a long line of coaches who have made the mistake of throwing food up on the TL. And Matt Rhule, what he did to Coach Sat is pretty sorry.
It would probably end in some sad like statement about the payment of or like the underpaying of GAs and lower level school coaches around the country. But I could get behind not a meme account, but like an account that just is for reposting or rating the meals of coaching staffs around the country. Because, there's a pillow in their cinder block walled office and they're heating up whatever they have available in their little snack file cabinet. And this is what they're eating 95% of the time before they go call, some 12-year-old a
Baby
British
Gronk.
cigarette. I'm glad that you went the high road.
Oh, is Baby Gronk an actual, like, is it just a bit or is he an actual up and coming talent?
Yeah.
You say that with you're sure. I don't know. I think he's just like he knows how to market himself. I think his dad is behind it.
And I worry because I know there's a number of kids who grow up who are, great athletes when they're that age because they grew quicker than everybody, but then they stop growing. And if you want to be a tight end prospect, if you want to be Baby Gronk, you're going to have to keep growing. And if this kid just like levels out at 5'9", that's just, I'm going to feel really bad for him because then what do you do with the bit?
This kid has 285,000 followers on Instagram.
He's only 9. I thought
He's 9. Yeah.
I feel like I've heard of this kid for several years.
Yeah.
And I was assuming like maybe he was approaching freshman year of high school. No, he's 9. Lives in Frisco. Born in 2012.
God.
Is he Frisco?
Like just turned 9. Yes, Frisco.
No.
He was on the list of attendees for that Pro-Am. I don't know who put it on, but it was like Romo, which is a notable person to be at a Pro-Am. At the Byron or at Las Colinas. I don't know, 6 months or so ago. But in addition to like Alfonso Ribeiro, you could have been paired with Baby Gronk.
Man, there's nothing I'd like more than to just play 18 with Baby Gronk. Can you imagine if that's who you got paired with? I mean, I guess it's fine.
Dude,
Maybe
the
toss
thing
me
about
some
it
clowns.
is, like, if this kid ends up being a legitimate like prospect, he's got to shake the whole like Baby Gronk thing that he's grown up with. It's like
I can think of Sports Illustrated now, like
This
Baby
is
Gronk all grown up.
it's like a detriment to him in some ways. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too much about it. Hey, good luck to you, Baby Gronk.
We're rooting for you.
Yeah.
BG is what I call him.
Right.
KJ, what'd you do this weekend?
That's a fantastic question because there were 7 to 8 inches of snow here in Madison and no school closures. So how would you ever know? I get it. Your boy spent the weekend digging out the sidewalks and driveways on Saturday. And then yesterday, just leisurely strolling around Costco, just doing nothing. It was a real chill weekend. That's all I got to say about that.
Do y'all make a run on the grocery store when there's inclement weather? Because as someone who put in the order for groceries yesterday, a lot of stuff cleaned out. Very hard to come by. A number of items due to the borderline freezing temps and light rain.
Are people really freaking out over this?
Yeah.
It's going to touch 31.
Do you have to ask that?
It's going to touch 31 like tomorrow morning. And then but by 11 o'clock, it's going to be, 39. And the worry will be completely over.
My wife.
We don't need to clear out the shelves, guys. It's going to be fine.
My wife is officially working from home tomorrow. She got the call, which is huge. Very huge. So people are scared about it,
Okay.
Just being safe, man, looking out for their employees.
At this point, I just hope everybody stays safe. That's, I'm going to take the high road here.
Thank you. That's really big of you, Northern guy. Hey, I got a fun fact that's going to blow both of your minds. Most Americans think they spend around $80 a month on subscriptions when the actual cost is closer to $200. Do you believe that?
I do believe that. As shockingly high as that sounds, it does make sense when I start to add things up in my head. Yeah.
It's a lot. And if you don't know exactly how much you're spending every month, you need Rocket Money. Shout out to our friends at Rocket Money. The average person has around 12 paid subscriptions. Think about that. 12. This happened to me. I didn't realize how many I had.
Yeah.
I got Rocket Money. It was telling me, hey, you're still paying for this one platform you never use.
A lot of people have more than they remember having. It's
Mhm.
that's what Rocket Money takes, like all the guesswork out of it. It goes out and finds your subscriptions and it's like, hey, are you using this one? Probably not. And sure enough, you're probably not using it, and so you can cancel it. Saves you all kinds of money. It's great.
Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill, is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. I get the emails when there's like a transaction that goes through and they don't know what it is. They'll shoot you an email like, "Hey, does this look normal to you?" You go in and you make sure it is. Over 80% of people have subscriptions they forgot about, like that streaming service you bought to watch just one show on, or that free trial you've never even used. Rocket Money will quickly and easily identify your subscriptions for you so you can stop paying for the ones you don't want. Simply find the subscription you don't want and press cancel, and Rocket Money will cancel it for you. No more long hold times with customer service or tedious emailing back and forth. Rocket Money canceling subscriptions as easy as a click of a button. Over 3 million people who have used Rocket Money, saving the average person up to $720 a year. I'm one of those people, like I said. And you know what? It's about time I go check again because I know there, I feel like every streaming service right now, and I know I'm not using every one of them.
Uh, my wife and I, we ran into the situation where we each had subscriptions to different services when we moved in together. And so we had to figure out which ones we were doubling up on. And Rocket Money helped us figure out that it was actually quite a few of them. And of course, we got to cancel and save a bunch of money that way too. So very helpful in many different ways.
Stop throwing your money away, cancel unwanted subscriptions, and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/bang. That's rocketmoney.com/bang. Tough one for Josh Johnson yesterday.
Yeah.
So, as someone who was at a bar with a bunch of dudes watching the game, as soon as Purdy went down, we're like, wait, who's behind? Like, who's the? We're
Fourth
like
string.
fourth string, and Josh Johnson, and we're like, wait, who's Josh Johnson?
It sounds like someone that you went to school with and you forgot all about.
Dan, to his credit, friend of the show, Dan Regester, he guessed San Jose State, and I think he went to San Diego State. So I was like, dude,
Close.
I'm impressed that you knew that. Had no clue he'd been in the league since 2008.
Journeyman, I believe, is the term.
That is the term. 15-year career, 14
San
different
Diego.
teams.
So I was watching the game also at a bar, except I wasn't with the boys. I was with 4 little children because we were at Dave & Buster's. And
D&B.
our booth was adjacent to the bar. So I did catch a little bit of the game, not all of it. How was Josh Johnson injured?
Concussion,
Concussion.
Shot to the head.
Okay.
and they were to blame. The Eagles, that is.
So then they put in the third string quarterback again, which of course is Purdy, Brock Purdy. Brock,
Yes.
right? That's his first name, Brock.
Brock, yes.
And he couldn't throw. So having a quarterback that's unable to throw the football puts your team at a significant disadvantage, turns out.
Yeah. This went I kind of expected 49ers and Philly to be like the game. I didn't expect much out of Bengals Chiefs, and I had it backward. I'm not sure if Brock Purdy stays in the game. They're able to keep up with Philly, but I don't think it's a laugher. And I don't think it's down to the point to where people on Twitter are like, do we need to just go Wildcat? Do we run Debo and McCaffrey back there? I saw people actually get like criticizing Shanahan for not attempting that, as if that's like an actual failsafe.
Yeah. Yeah. And seeing them dial up these like, halfback pass plays,
Oh my
like double
God.
reverse. And then there was, at one point, McCaffrey was throwing the ball deep to like absolutely nobody. See them try to like creatively come up with ways to get the ball downfield, and it just wasn't working. It was over way too soon.
What they should have done is lined up McCaffrey at center.
Ooh.
Mine, it's just I'm not an OC. I'm not known as a guru, but I just feel like that is something that could be in play.
Like if your entire season depended on it, you might as well go to that play, right?
You may, yes, you may as well put your 7th-year running back at center.
As a person who's been publicly known as a former Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, I was a fan of the Bucks when Josh Johnson was drafted by them, so I was familiar with his game, if you will. University of San Diego, later to be not known as, but I believe Jim Harbaugh coached there briefly. Brady Hoke also coached there at one point. I don't know much else about San Diego other than those two notes, but I think that they were in a good spot because they had somebody with such an abundance of experience not only with the Niners back in 2020, he was briefly there, but also in these like, hey, show up, you ain't got much to work with such situations. He's played in the XFL, he's played in the PFL, whatever that might be, and then been a journeyman as everyone's already hit on. So none of that to say like that they had like a shot to be successful, but like they were about as ready as anybody could have been in that situation. I think that it's worth noting, like, had this happened before halftime, things probably do look a little bit different about how they went about it. I thought that the Niners and the Bengals, and we can talk about the Bengals game in a little bit, like, there were a lot of calls against the Niners and a lot of penalties by the Niners. And I think that the amount of penalties that was happening by their own defense just distracted them to an odd amount. Like, so when this happens on offense, like they lost confidence. There was a point late in the game and it was over by then. I think Eagles had just got a turnover or something like that. But like, it wasn't even an upset team of like, fights happen, but it just was, they were dejected, I guess.
A lot of give up phase, which, they'd never admit, but like, I mean, how could you not? Although after that McCaffrey touchdown, which was objectively sick,
My gosh.
I was like, we're kind of all looking around like, got a little something here. Turns out, no, not at all. Got nothing here. That was really bad tackling too. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, the Eagles are too tough. The Eagles have had a nice little, not a difficult run to the Super Bowl.
Well, the argument would be, well, that's why you play and get the 1 seed, right? You get your bye, then
They've
you
earned
land,
it.
then you land the worst team in the playoffs across the board,
They've
the New
earned
York
this
Giants.
path,
Correct.
sure. But it's also fair to point out that they played the Giants, who are not a strong football team. I mean, they had a great season. And then the Niners down to they used all of their quarterbacks and ended up with one who couldn't throw a pass. So I do think the Eagles are very, very good, but it'll be interesting to see how they perform in the Super Bowl against a worthwhile opponent. Finally,
It would have been the Cowboys if the Vikings won that game. The Cowboys were the 5 seed, right?
yes,
Because they weren't a division winner, so they would have went to the Eagles. So even if you swap that out and then let's say they still play the Niners and everything happens the same, I don't think I'm knocking, like, the Cowboys were considerably better than the Giants, but like, I don't know that would have like validated it. I think it just is what it is. If they beat Kansas City, I don't think anybody asked any questions about how bad Daniel Jones was.
Yeah, and the Patriots built the greatest dynasty of all time on this premise, on like this taking this road, beating up on like a weak division, and then just kind of cakewalking many times to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Being healthy enough to cakewalk because your division was so
That's right.
so bad.
Right.
That's I think the underrated part. Like, we talk about the Niners because their quarterbacks have been hurt. Other than that, like, they've been relatively, actually that's not fair to say. The first quarter of the season they were pretty banged up, but they were relatively healthy for like 3/4 of the season. The Cowboys had a lot of injuries in a lot of different places. Even the Chiefs, you can look at and say, like, yeah, they lost all of their receivers in that last game. They've had a running back out all year, but they've had a lot of healthy pieces in a lot of healthy places. The Eagles, they've had a couple big defensive line injuries, and other than that, they've continued to check the box. So, I don't know. I'm going to continue my apology tour to Nick Sirianni for another 2 weeks. After that, he's on his own.
Well, let me say, we've got ourselves quite the predicament here because we've got classic battle, Mahomes family versus Eagles fans. Who you got? Because you're gonna have to root for somebody, and I don't know where you stand on the Jackson Mahomes TikTok stuff versus just
It's not just Jackson.
underlying shithousery from Eagles fans,
It's
which
not
I
just
respect.
Jackson.
It's not just him.
It's the screeching
It is a loud scream.
of his wife. That's like, they're insufferable.
Is it enough to make you root against Pat Mahomes? Because it's not for me. Because I like Pat.
I
Mahomes.
love watching Pat Mahomes play football.
Yeah.
He's obviously he has a gift. I do like him less because of the company he keeps, and I'm sorry to say that. I like him less. I don't dislike him. I just like him less. Okay, and I think a lot of people, if they're being fair about the situation, will agree with what I'm saying.
Is it so bad that you wish his wife was named something different? Because I struggle to acknowledge her as Brittany Mahomes, just because I don't want to act like I'm even approaching talking shit.
Even spelled the same way. No, it's
That's I don't know.
why do they have to yell so much?
You're excited. They got the baby goat in the fam. Why not?
Stop. Stop.
What?
Stop defending them.
You can't. I'm not.
This isn't the real you.
I am. Yes, it is.
The other side of the coin, you mentioned Eagles fans. As long as their ire is not directed at me, I can I'm from the periphery. I can kind of appreciate it. Like what that Philly fan did to Joey Bosa before the Niners game. I enjoyed that. Not having a dog in the fight. That was fun.
So I was adamantly rooting against the Eagles in that game. And when I saw that video, I was like, oh man, here we go. Some freaking idiot Eagles fan. And then I watched the video and I kind of love that dude.
Sided with the Eagles fan,
I did.
don't you?
I sided with him with just the most Philly accent you can ever have. Just going after. There's a list of people you don't really approach with the camera and talk shit to. And the Bosa brothers are on that list.
If you can get someone like a famous, wealthy person to play the "well, I'm rich and you're not" card, you've won.
Yeah.
You have owned that person mentally.
It's done.
And you brought out that when someone plays that card, it's such a bad look, by the way. Such a bad look. I have nothing to say to defend myself here, so I'm just going to go to the lowest hanging fruit. I'm a successful person, and I'm assuming you're not, because you're probably a scumbag Philly fan, which he is.
Facts.
But the guy had a great response because Bosa, he said something about him being fined or whatever, and Bosa was like, well, yeah, at least I can afford it. And the guy said, so can I.
Okay.
You don't know what that guy does. He just assumes that he's poor.
No getting around it.
Yeah.
I missed the clip, so this entire time, had you not said it was a guy, I thought you were talking about Dr. Jill Biden was the one trying to roast Joey Bosa the whole time.
No.
I would have loved to see how that went.
No, the Bosa brothers were trying to get into the Goodell suite to see if there were any confidential docs.
Bosa.
It's so annoying. That dude's so hammered. I love it.
He's just there to support his brother.
You know what's annoying? That shit would never happen at a Cowboy game. There's no Cowboy fan that's going to that game that's going to drunkenly approach a Bosa brother.
No, they're getting selfies with
In the 300 or 400 levels, maybe. In the standing room only terraces, maybe.
No.
But nothing in the 100 or 200 or whatever you call the field level suites.
Yeah, some guy wearing a Vineyard Vines vest isn't going to go up to the Bosa brother.
Bosa.
Do you think that's a good move though? Supporting your brother, rocking your brother's jersey.
Yeah, why not?
I'm not saying
I respect it.
I think it's a cool move.
I think it's important to support your brother.
Yeah.
I'd stop
Brothers
short
for
of
life,
the
Dylan.
custom jersey, that parents do, the stitched jersey or Bosa's mom. I don't love all that. But
Is it too look at
rocking
me?
your brother's gear, I do like that.
Is it too look at me?
No, I think it's pretty cool. It's a ridiculous, we've talked about in the past with the Ball brothers. As obnoxious as that family was, it's undeniable to be it was pretty cool that they have two reasonably star level players in the NBA and almost had one on a roster. That's an absurd achievement.
LeVar Ball was so obnoxious that it made everyone want the Ball brothers to fail.
Yeah.
Like, I want these guys to like just flame out of the NBA. That way we can go back to roasting LeVar Ball. It turns out like they're both really fucking good. And there's a third one that might even be good too. I don't even know.
Yeah.
And so like the hate for LeVar Ball kind of just like slowly went away a little bit.
I stopped hating him when I got my first pair of Big Baller brand shoes.
Right.
And ever since then, I'm like, dude, I'm fucking with this guy heavy.
It
Right.
seems like we're off track, but I do think it's worth noting that like this is a prime example to show you like that's how far the Ball brothers and I guess Steph Curry and Seth Curry, they've passed the threshold, and I don't think enough people hate Aisha Curry to the degree that like we talk about Brittany or LeVar, but like that shows you how far the Barr brothers have to go for people to be like, okay, we can deal with his dad because they're so good. Because undeniably, people will deal with Patrick Mahomes regardless.
Have you seen any of the clips of Patty Mahomes Sr. after the game?
Yeah.
This
The
is
cigar?
with the cigar. I feel like this is the most in the public eye he's been
And
in
while-
recent years.
Well, he's not shown drinking anything.
He was-
One might presume that he had a little bit to drink too.
He said he was smoking on that Burrow pack.
Yeah.
Break that down, Dylan.
Hey, first of all, back to the Bosa thing.
No.
If you play the I'm rich card, that's the equivalent of someone on Twitter being like, "Oh, bro, you only have like 12 followers." Like
Yeah.
that means what they have to say doesn't mean anything. Like, oh, shut up. Anyway,
Bot.
the Burrow pack. Yeah, when
You didn't have to go back.
smoking on the Burrow pack. No. Yeah, they're smoking on the Burrow pack though.
Was it
Unfortunately.
Burrowhead?
Burrowhead.
The Bengals Chiefs game. Did either of you like? You said you were rooting for the Chiefs. Is that what you said, David? Or did you have a preference? If
No,
you
the
wanted,
only-
I don't. Not betting aside, but like, did you have a preference?
No, I didn't. I was rooted. The only team I actually rooted for was the 49ers in the championship round. But I like the Bengals. I'm trying to like with my problem is like I'm like, all right, do I root for the Bengals? But like I'm kind of annoyed by like Burrow stands, of which my
Mhm.
wife might be. Probably all of our wives, or like I'm weighing that against the Mahomes family, and I know that's not a healthy way. I was just hoping both teams had fun personally, and it looks like they didn't.
I didn't truly care who won. I probably would have liked to see Cincinnati win, but it didn't really matter to me too much.
After Philly took the win, I started to think more like, all right, who can actually beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl? Like that was kind of my
Yeah.
Okay.
my thing.
You think
So
the Chiefs are better equipped to beat the Eagles than Cincinnati? I think they probably are.
if Mahomes is healthy, yeah, he's got 2 weeks, right? So
Mhm.
It's hard for me to say like what is the clear cut answer to what beats the Eagles. I feel like not anybody that can stop because it would have been done by now, but like limiting Travis Kelce is an absolute must if you were going to find a team that could compete with the Chiefs on a high level. Like, so I don't know what that would have looked like going into this week, but for the Eagles, I guess they lost to the Cowboys and they lost a random game in there, like maybe the Texans. Wasn't it
They-
like a huge upset
they
that they
skated
had
by the
somewhere
Tech. They
along?
barely beat the Texans.
Okay,
much-
yeah,
much
they
like
came
the
back and
Cowboys.
beat them at the end.
Yeah,
Regarding, I guess, the quarterbacks, I feel like I found myself like more rooting for a team or pulling for a team based on their coaches, and I think Andy Reid's so likable that I'm pull for the Chiefs for that reason. Zach Taylor is continuously trying to like morph his face into John Gruden's, like
is he
to
trying
the
to
degree
do that?
I don't know what's going on, but like I feel like he was one of the hot young coaches on the scene a couple years ago, and maybe it was just the cold weather, but he's looking rough after just like 3 years of being a head coach.
It's a
Whereas like
stressful gig.
Shanahan, everyone's pointed out the Kendall Roy comparisons, and I think it just continues to look like that. The worse the game goes on, he's just less and less animated and just more and more simmering. The quarterback part, like, I don't know, my wife went to Texas Tech, so I would assume she's a Pat Mahomes fan. I don't know about being a Joe Burrow stan. I'd probably be more worried about like Jalen Hurts in this household, but who knows?
Okay.
Where
Took
does
me a while to get back
Sirianni?
to it.
Where does Sirianni fall? I heard you
Where does Sirianni fall?
on your
Again,
hateability list of coaches.
He's one of the most punchable faces in the NFL, I feel like.
He's so
But
perfectly Philly, isn't he?
absolutely.
The slow-mo
And
shot of
he's-
his like exaggerated head nod. Like, God, dude, just pull out a battery and throw it at like someone in the stands. Like, it's
Yeah. Wrap it in snow.
yeah.
Just wing it at the playmaker. Cheer as the playmaker's being carted off.
Yeah, like he was probably in the stands that day.
I'm not one to profile, but I might like make sure I'm fully boxing him out while I'm punching in my PIN number.
Yes.
Checking out at the grocery store or something.
Do
I don't know.
y'all ever? I don't
Of all
know.
the coaches.
I don't know if y'all's. This is a hard pivot. I'm sorry. Do y'all's gyms? I know Dylan, yours does. You go to the same gym as me.
Yeah.
But you got the combo lock, and then like you punch in the the 4-number combo, and then you can spin it to where you
Yeah.
lock it, then you spin it, so it's
Mhm.
not somebody can't just come pop it open. What's the etiquette for like? Do you ever like when somebody is like right next to you and you punch it in? Like, do you ever worry that they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, don't mind me," like, or like if you wonder like, okay, is this guy gonna get offended if I like spin it a bunch to like get the numbers off, like, or you
put a
block
hand
it?
up, yeah,
you kind
you're
of
like
you kind of wait till they get out of there.
no,
You just cup
Yeah.
it on both sides and you're just trying to sneak in there and tap the numbers.
I'm so paranoid. When I leave the gym and I close the locker, I will spin it so people won't like look at the number I left in there and then remember me the next time. Okay, that dude, his code is blah blah blah, and then they'll come use my code.
Yeah,
I'm spinning that shit.
yeah. Okay, that was a really weird pivot, and that's my fault.
Just like my rims outside, they're always spinning.
Dude, I got back from lunch and saw that they were literally spinning.
Yeah. Well, they don't stop.
That's crazy. Do you have like a motor, like a solar panel or something? That,
No,
like,
they just glide.
dude, it's just momentum.
Yeah.
It's like the Earth's core.
Yeah. Do I pull up to a stoplight? I just looks like I'm still sliding.
KJ, you got anything on that?
Nope.
Okay.
I was just trying to avoid taking it to Latrell Sprewell choking out whatchamacallit, but I guess I said it
PJ
anyway.
Carlissimo.
There you go. I do want to talk. I guess do we have to talk Joseph Osai, or the penalties in the
Yeah, I want
Bengals
to.
game?
I wanted to open up the
Yeah.
floor for Dylan because Dylan's been
Yeah,
taking this
I
pretty
forgot
hard.
he's a Longhorn. Go ahead.
Dude made a huge mistake. That was clearly the right call, and 15 yards like that they probably go to overtime without that. Probably. I mean, it's not a sure thing.
8 seconds left, right?
8 seconds left.
So you have to. Your next play basically has to get you into range.
It would have been like 55-ish, I think. And if you saw it looks like McPherson got all of it and cleared it by only 5-6 yards. So it definitely was a major factor in the game. I felt like a gut punch. I mean, that kid, he went to Texas, so like I watched him play in college, and by all accounts, a great dude. He's 22 years old. He played his ass off. He had an excellent game, minus that last play. I felt fucking crushed for the guy. He's on the sideline, just head buried. Tears are going.
They kept showing it.
They kept going back to him. 22
unnecessary.
years old.
Yeah.
And he makes a mistake that big on that stage, likely costing his team a shot at going to the Super Bowl.
A lot of things have to go right for them to,
Yeah, it wasn't a sure thing.
No.
And there's also the argument that's like, it's more than just the one play. Like every play in the game led up to that one moment, and everyone on the team had a factor in getting to that one moment. So there's that whole aspect of it, which is valid and all that. You got to feel for the kid. And it was really cool to see. I got to shout out BJ Hill, I think his name is.
Mm-hmm.
He, of course, reporters go up to, Osai in the locker room afterward and ask him about the play. And BJ Hill, it looked like his bodyguard. He was standing next to him and was like, anytime a reporter would ask a question, he'd be like, he would either give him like a nod of approval, like, okay, that one's okay. That if someone asked like about that play or how he felt or letting his teammates down, he would be like, nah, man, you can't ask that. Like he was like sticking up for him. That shit's cool. And to see his teammates support him, I know that not all of his teammates did. Dude, last name Pratt, a linebacker on the team, I think,
Mm-hmm.
was
who's I think he saw. Or go ahead. I'm sorry.
He was recorded saying something going into the locker room, like, how can you touch a quarterback, man, or something like that. But
That's just
heat of the moment. Yeah, heat of the moment
raw
situation.
emotion.
Yeah,
You know,
I
can't-
agree. But it has been cool to see support, not from just his teammates, but people around, the social media, like speaking up for him. And even Micah Parsons was like talking about how the comment by Pratt was lame or whatever. That's cool to see. But I still just feel terrible for the kid.
Micah, he gets out there on Twitter.
He
will
does.
live tweet a game, won't he?
He might say a little too much.
I love it, but at the same time, I'm like, oh man.
Did you see what he said to Lane Johnson yesterday?
No.
You know who Lane Johnson is?
What did he say?
Left tackle,
lineman from the Eagles, right?
Yeah, left tackle for Philly. He said, "Go out and win one for the division."
Hate it. I don't know. That
I
didn't
tried to
happen.
clip that
Don't like
and
that.
tag Zach in it, but I accidentally quote tweeted the tweet with the tweet, and I was like, you know what? I failed.
Don't
Just
like that.
cancel.
He just
abort
gave
mission.
up. Okay. The great debate in my one of my group texts was we had two people saying, it was the right call, but you can't make that call at that point in the game.
Wrong.
Which
Wrong.
I could not disagree with.
Especially when that quarterback is Patrick Mahomes.
See, that
It
should
could have been
weigh
Josh
in-
Johnson, and I think
Yeah,
I think the obviousness of the penalty, you have to call it. What sucked in the moment for in my opinion was like it looked like Osai tore his knee at the
he
at the very
hyperextended
same
it.
time. I was like, oh, this is bad on both sides.
He hyperextended when he was trying to plant and stop his momentum. My point is like that is by the book, that is a penalty. But there are quarterbacks who are definitely getting that call over other quarterbacks. Tom Brady's getting that call 100% of the time. Probably Patrick Mahomes, but if it's Brock Purdy or Josh Johnson, should get that call, but maybe it's not so clear. I don't know.
Agree. What did we miss?
Got to take care of your superstars.
Parting
I would
thoughts on
only
these
say
games?
on Pratt, the comment by Pratt, there was, as the online noise started, he did respond or post on Instagram somewhere, and maybe he's made something more public since, but basically walking back his comment, claiming heat of the moment, but also saying, I stand by my guy, we win together, we lose together, accepting it as a team situation and not faulting him directly. So he's at least acknowledged it, but I will file that slightly below the Packers guy that shoved the trainer and then apologized 100 times afterwards. Who do we feel? I guess the answer is neither, so I won't put us in this position, but this is just kind of how the sport is built. I think about, my brain went to the kicker of Ohio State, all the pressure that was on him, and they lose the game because of that missed kick. And that was directly related to the loss, not necessarily the only reason, but directly related to the outcome. And that's just kind of how we set up the chips. So unfortunate, but it happens.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. That's real tough because I don't know. I don't know if he was really even trying to hit him or just kind of natural bracing himself for. Yeah, it's just.
It's hard to say. Hard to say.
It's really hard to say.
A million things could have been different if there were people on the sideline closer to where Pat Mahomes was entering the boundary. It may have not been as evident of how late it was. It probably still gets called. If there's somebody closer to Osai to where it's clear that he got shoved, it may not get called. So many things had to happen the way that it played out, but it is what it is.
In the post-game interview in the locker room, he tried to explain himself during that same interview, I think, that B.J. Hill was sticking up for him. He said that he was trying to reverse his momentum to get him going backward, in effect, of course, keeping the clock running. It's like a split second, maybe I could do this.
Oh, reach out, grab him, see if he can try to pull. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That's his explanation. I don't know how much, merit there is to
One of
that.
those doing too much things
Doing
works in
too
your head,
much,
but
but
things just move so fast.
It's just a shitty situation. Got to feel for the guy.
Okay. Hey, want to give a shout out to our good friends at Roback.
Oh, yeah.
Use code BACKER20. Get 20% off your first order. Polos, workout shirts, joggers.
QZs.
QZs. I think I've got
Hoodies.
every QZ they've ever made.
Their hoodies are, okay, if you want to wear the hoodie out to the bar, you can do that. But also, they're great for working out in. I've been doing cardio in these things. Get a little extra little sweat in at the gym.
Yeah.
Love them.
It's a great gym hoodie. It's
They're
very
soft
breathable.
and stretchy.
Yep.
They're excellent.
Shout out to them. Roll back. Use code BACKER20. Did you guys see the Jones bomb that dropped yesterday? Kellen Moore. He gone.
He gone.
Why do we do that? I know why we do it. You don't have to answer that. But
We being the Dallas Cowboys.
Is it
we
because
being the Cowboys.
is this because he lined up Zeke at center?
No, I think this is we got to do something, and it's make or break time for Mike McCarthy, as he is now going to be calling plays. Don't know who they're going to hire to fill into that OC role, but yeah, it's essentially, I'd say Super Bowl, maybe NFC Championship game or bust for McCarthy, because Dan Quinn's coming back for some reason. Probably because he doesn't want to go fuck around in Denver, which I completely understand, not wanting anything to do with that mess.
Do you think there's we kind of talked a bit about this before we started recording. Is there like an understanding between Dan Quinn and Jerry that like we're going to give you the keys after next season and that's why he's sticking around?
Yes.
Okay.
Has to be. He knows. He's smart enough to know.
I
even if it
imagine
hasn't
there's
said.
that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you that like that. I imagine there's that. There's also, you look at it and you've got a top 5 player in the NFL, defensive player in the NFL for sure, where you're at. That doesn't mean you'll take less money to continue to be his coach, but at least you know you've got that going for you. And I think there's probably more to the first part of what Dave was saying as far as you don't want to go to Denver, or extending that on to Carolina, to all the other jobs that are open that are completely, I'm blanking on. I guess Carolina was filled, but I assume that he said no before they hired Frank Reich, to Indy or whatever. And I wonder how much of it is also projection of, okay, I don't care for this year's slate of teams. Didn't care for last year's slate of teams on the terms that they were available. I think looking back, maybe Jacksonville was their best shot, but I think Doug Peterson was hired before the end of the year because Urban had been gone so long. We're probably not that far away from Patriots, potentially the Cowboys, the Saints coming back up. Like, they're probably the Seahawks probably being an option at some point soon because, you know, what you call it, 72 years old. Like, I wonder how much of it's also projection of like, I don't want these teams with these rosters, but maybe I also am more interested in franchises that are a year or two away from being available. And, you know, if he's getting paid to sit, then kudos to him.
One other tidbit in coaching news. It looks like D'Amico Ryans to the Texans is happening. Is happening.
Okay.
Nothing from the team yet, but I'm seeing my sources, meaning I typed in D'Amico Ryans onto Twitter. And it looks like, yeah, that's happening. So it might be the best thing the Texans have done in a long, long, long time, other than fire Jack Easterby.
Former Texans draft pick, by the way.
Yeah, that's right.
Indeed.
And I mean, I didn't play in the game. I was on the sideline. But technically, D'Amico and I played against one another in the Cotton Bowl of 2005. So, I mean, I saw him absolutely dominate in person. I can say that much.
Yeah. People are still talking about your performance.
Elevated position of standing on the bench with no shoulder pads on. I observed his greatness.
All right. You guys want to party real quick and get out of here?
Let's do it.
It's part of the podcast where we talk about some other stuff and we party at the same time. Did you guys peep any of the Pat Reed ball controversy? KJ? Doesn't look like it.
I saw that Chambly did a deep dive. I have not cracked the cover of this expose. Please.
It's his tee shot right off of the tee. Can't find it.
Hey, when that happens.
It happens to all of us. It's in a palm tree, allegedly. And he, with the help of multiple officials, spots the ball way up there, says, I see the marking, that's my ball. They're using binoculars, cameras, and all that. If you want to really break down the film, it looks like it went into a different tree. It doesn't look like it went into that tree. Now, he was cleared by officials. He was, to Pat Reed's credit, he went by the book. He didn't try. What would have happened was it would have had to play it as a lost ball, gone and reteed. Instead, he got to just drop right there, unplayable. So it did benefit him in theory. But
the real story here is that Pat Reed is involved in another controversy.
yeah, I know it's always something. But it is I don't know. It is funny that they're breaking it down like it's the goddamn Zapruder film.
Did you see the the Golf Facts Twitter account that's definitely not run by his wife, talking about how live is like the future of golf and it's so much better. And
yeah, I get a kick out of that account. It responds to our friends at No Laying Up quite often, and I'm always like, wow, I can't believe this is a real thing that's happening.
It's still happening. Real quick, let's do our next two stories, and then I'll wage a quick complaint. But go on.
No, real quick, I don't know if you saw the potentially the most destructive Reddit thread in NBA history over the weekend.
Oh, yes.
Jaren Jackson Jr. When somebody, I guess a Grizzlies fan, noticed hey, I think our scorekeeper's padding his stats, his blocks, his rebounds and steals maybe. And it just got people speculating and then going back and finding tape and being like, that was definitely not his rebound. I think it's been disproven, but the theory going for a long time on Saturday was there might be some foul play here. Maybe somebody's
home cooking.
Some home cooking. I don't know. Maybe some gambling involved because you pad the stats for somebody. Let's say you do like a prop bet.
Sure.
Who knows?
Sure. Love that.
After deeper dives by Twitter people, it looks like 3 of his 66 blocks were deemed maybe labeled incorrectly, according to Kevin O'Connor on Twitter. But it's still wild, and I wonder how many of these we may have missed in the past. Nobody's going to the Jazz games. Do we know Rudy Gobert has had 20 rebounds every game?
It happens all the time in baseball. I mean, any game where you have, you know what I mean? Something an error, whatever.
Oh, yeah. Where it's ruled off field or whatever.
Yeah. Also over the weekend, I don't know if you saw Pat Bev and LeBron were both on one. Celtics, Lakers. LeBron definitely got fouled. Tie game. And he got hacked.
It was pretty obvious.
But not only did he get fouled, but
Atlanta Braves tomahawk chopped.
Yes, absolutely. And then he found out the worst news of his life as he just put his head down. And I mean, you would have thought he just lost game 7.
Yeah, this is like game 7 NBA Finals, right?
It was still going to overtime.
Yeah. Plus the Lakers stink, baby.
He's got a lot going for him. He's got a beautiful family. He's LeBron.
Can I put a on-the-fly request? Not on the fly to be done quickly, but just a request to Randy. If we can do a side-by-side of what is his name from Tropic Thunder? What's the main guy's name? I can't think of his name.
Robert Downey Jr.?
No, the other one. Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller crying in Tropic Thunder side-by-side with LeBron falling to his knees. I think there's something there. Just the dramatic platoon fall to your knees look. Come on, man.
To make things better, you got Pat Bev goes and gets a sideline photographer. Goes and gets a photographer's camera and goes and shows it to the official.
That was hilarious.
He got teed up. Honestly, the best thing he's done.
Look, it's right here.
I mean,
the photographer had to have said, hey, I've got it right here. He didn't go around asking. Did y'all see that? Well, actually, he probably did go around asking. Did anybody see that?
Good, yeah, because which photographer did he get that from? By the way, they've all done the point to the screen, look, you missed the call, but to actually put it in their face, make them watch it. That shit was hilarious.
That guy probably lost his credentials. Poor guy.
Yeah. Quick protest here. I will offer an out here, but Patrick Reed needs to be full-blown Patrick Reed. He can't be Pat Reed. We cannot make that cool or abbreviated going forward. And I think Pat Beverly, which we all agree can be called Pat Bev, is why we shortened it to Pat Reed, but I won't stand for that. Although you said reteed in a golf context, and I think I kind of want to use that for retweeted now. I think reteed sounds tight.
Dang, KJ's put that on the run of that. KJ's got some new bits. Yeah, no, that's fair. Pat Reed is not a thing that people say. I absolutely happened to glance down at Pat Bev and just said Pat Reed for some reason.
I know. And then Dylan repeated you like it got contagious. I was like, we will not be the Pat Reed pod.
I regret the error. That's on me. That's on me. That concludes our sports party. Dylan, is it time to run it back?
Let's run it back. Of course, this is the segment during which we talk about what we already talked about. Dave, regrettably, will not have many ops to play pond hockey moving forward.
Another brief.
Did I say ops?
You did say ops. Baby Gronk has a long way to go and develop before he becomes a legit football prospect. You know, because he's 9. I try to do a little Norman.
Nuts ain't even exploded yet.
He is 9.
I don't think it played.
No, it was good.
Dave is no OC, but he thinks the Niners should have lined up McCaffrey at center after both quarterbacks went down.
I wish I had tweeted that. Somebody
in the
thought
game.
of that. Damn it.
Dave stopped hating LeVar Ball when he got his first pair of big baller brand shoes. Latrell Sprewell once choked coach PJ Carlissimo.
That is fact.
Who makes more Twitter content, Micah Parsons or producer Micah? Well, he's semi-retired.
It's true. Micah's more active these days.
KJ and D'Amico Ryans wore football uniforms for the same game one time. Only one of them saw meaningful snaps. We'll let you guess.
I respect that.
We'll let you
All
guess
accurate.
which one it was.
Mm.
And finally, KJ has a new term for a retweet that you're going to want to hear. And that concludes Run It
Stick
Back.
around for the credits.
Man. Okay.
Fun episode, guys.
Fun one. We will be back next Monday. Super Bowl, week of the Super Bowl. We do have a live stream. We are doing a big game Super Bowl live stream. I don't know what night. Probably not the night of. Definitely not the night of, but we will keep you posted.
That show sucked, by the way.
The night of?
Yeah.
Started out real strong too.
Started out real
Great
fire.
first episode.
And then it just got into weird territory.
Yeah.
And feet.
Yeah. And feet. Yeah. Oh God. All right, let's get out of here.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
I want my chips with the dip. That's all I know. I don't want my chips plain. I want my chips with the dip. So bring them dips.